Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. Welcome to English Grade 9 video lecture series and welcome to Chase Academy. Students, today we are going to talk about our lecture 2 of the new unit. But before that, I would like to tell you that in this unit we are going to talk about sentence patterns. वो किसी भी sentence को structure करने के लिए in the correct order, in the correct form, we use some templates or some formulas of making sentences, right? So in the last unit, अभी हमारे पास last unit है, let me just go through that. So in the last unit, what did we do? We talked about 6 sentence patterns, and today we are going to talk about starting from pattern number 7 to 12. तो 12 sentence patterns हैं जो हम डिस्कस करेंगे. हाफ हम लोग ऑलरेडी कर चुके हैं एंड हियर इज द रिव्यू. So if we just recall the sentence patterns that we have discussed in the previous unit, pattern 1 was subject plus verb. Simple. Subject and verb. Pattern 2 क्या था? Subject, verb and complement. What complement? Subject complement. Pattern number 3, where we talked about subject plus verb plus direct object with examples. Alright, so this was pattern 3, and pattern 4 is subject plus verb plus indirect object and then the direct object. And all of these things are shown in the different colors accordingly. फिर pattern 5 हमने किया था, where you have direct object, preposition, and then the prepositional object. And lastly, in the last lecture, subject plus verb plus add any noun or pronoun and then add an adjective. And the examples are given over here. Now, let's talk about the pattern number 7. Now, students, when we are talking about the English language, you must follow these patterns in order to make a flawless sentence. तो हमने क्या करना है, इन सारे patterns को practice करना है with examples, and in this way we can recognize कि कोई भी sentence अगर आपके पास आए in the activities in the form of practice sentences, you can easily recognize. So the SLO is apply knowledge of parts of speech, tenses, sentence structure, and other features of grammar and vocabulary to understand how language functions in different contexts. Make effective choices for meaning or style while reading, listening, and writing. And in this SLO, we are talking about sentence structure, right? So it's a very comprehensive kind of an SLO, but we will study the next patterns. Now let's get started, dear learners. I hope that I'm audible to the students on the Zoom class. If you have any kind of question or confusion, you can just ask me. So let's see what are sentence patterns. If we just recall, the sentence pattern refers to how the words are arranged to create a grammatically correct and meaningful sentences. Our sentence has to be grammatically correct and meaningful as well. It means कोई sense बनना चाहिए. There has to be a message delivered so that we can call it a sentence, a complete sentence giving a complete message. It involves organizing the words, phrases, and clauses to convey a thought or idea. And you know, in the last lecture, what we talked about, now the sentence is divided in different components or different parts. क्या हैं वो parts? Subject, object, verb. Yes, two kinds of objects, complements, and all those things. Now let's see. Pattern number 7. Subject, we will add our verb. preposition and then the prepositional object. For example, here we have three examples. Subject, the princess shows off her pet. अब ये तो है subject. Verb is show. But there are some verbs like show off, put off, hope on, count on, जिनके साथ prepositions का इस्तेमाल करेंगे. Off is a preposition plus what are we talking about? What this action is referring to? It is requiring an object. So वो object है her pet. So students, ये एक सेंटेंस पैटर्न है जो कि आप याद करेंगे और इससे आप और सेंटेंसेस बनाएंगे. The princess shows off her pet. Princess ने अपना pet सबको दिखाया. To show off what? We need an object and we will use prepositional object. क्यों? क्योंकि it is covering our preposition over here. उसके पहले क्या आ रहा है? Preposition. So that's why we call it prepositional object. Similarly, he agreed. He subject है, agree verb, to क्या है? Preposition. What are prepositions? That show different aspects. Location, time, direction and all of these things. Now, off, on, inside, outside, directions दिखाने के लिए and to give off certain information, we use prepositions. To what? Our proposal. ये हमारा prepositional object है. It is coming right after preposition, so that's why we call it so. He agreed to our proposal. You can't or cannot count on his help. मतलब आप उसकी मदद के लिए उसके ऊपर इन्हिसार नहीं कर सकते. To count on somebody means to be waiting for that or to be dependent on somebody for something. You क्या है? Subject. Can't. Verb है ना? And what kind of verb is can't or cannot? Modal verb. It is showing us the possibility. All right. Count on preposition and prepositional help. You can't count on his help. आप notice करें कि आपके verb के साथ preposition लाजमी है in this sentence pattern. The princess shows off. He agreed to. You can't count on. All right. So these are your examples of pattern number 7, where you will add subject, verb, preposition and then the prepositional object. क्योंकि यहां पे जो verbs use होंगे वो सारे वो verbs हैं that require an object. हमने देखा था कि कुछ verbs के साथ object required होता है, कुछ के साथ नहीं होता, right? And वो क्या था? Transitive and intransitive. So we will have transitive verb. जी, let's look at some more examples. Now, the cat jumped on the table. We have our subject, the cat, jumped, verb, on. On क्या है? Preposition and then the prepositional object. So by following this pattern, now we can make so many sentences. She looked at the painting. Subject आ गया, verb, preposition at, the painting. Yes. Why? Action किस पे perform हो रहा है? Object पे. Look is a kind of a verb that requires an object. So that's why we have an object. It's coming after the preposition and that's how we call it prepositional object. Now, students, can we make some sentences of our own? Let's see. Subject. Let's say we have subject Aman. All right. Aman is the subject. Verb. Play. Okay. Aman plays. Preposition क्या ऐड करें? Let's see. Aman plays. We need a preposition. Yes. At the park or whatever. So subject, verb, preposition or prepositional object. All right. So pattern number 7. Now students, before moving on to pattern 8, do you know about infinitives? जी students on the Zoom class. Infinitives को कौन define करेगा? To play, to work, to swim, all of these are infinitives. Verb से पहले हम to लगाएंगे, and this kind of word infinitive goes on. There's no limit. That's why we call it infinitive. It's not finite, rather it's infinite. So that's why we call them infinitives. So an infinitive is a verb form that is made by adding the word to before the base form of a verb. Base form. इसका मतलब है past form नहीं लेंगे, second, third forms नहीं लेंगे, just the base form. To teach is a infinitive. This is an infinitive. To learn, to catch, to beat, to eat, all of these are infinitives. So why are we learning about infinitives? Because in pattern 8, we are going to use it. Let's say subject plus verb plus infinitive as object of the verb. Infinitive is used as the object of the verb over here. For example, Princess September went, क्या है verb, to say good morning. So to say good morning is our infinitive. Say good morning. This is a verb, to say something. Saying good morning, eating a burger, playing with the cat. But जब हम to लगा देंगे, then it will become an infinitive. I forgot to post the letter. They intend to postpone the trip. All right. Let's make a sentence. I forgot, let's say, I forgot to turn the now let's to turn the light off or whatever. Let's say I forgot to turn off to switch off the light, to turn off whatever. So does it fulfill our sentence pattern? Yes. We have a subject, we have a verb, to turn off, to play with, to put off. All of these are infinitives. So infinitives आएंगे, and infinitives are actually, they are working as object over here. Now let's talk about another example. Now do you guys understand this point? Yes students? Can you make a sentence on your own? Now just give me one sentence so that we can move forward. Choose a subject. Yes? The cat. All right? The cat. Verb. Jumped. Yes? To the mouse. All right? Jumping to the mouse. To catch the mouse. To play with something. So कोई भी verb उससे पहले आप to ऐड करेंगे, it will become an infinitive and that will act as an object. Now it's part of your test, it's part of your assignment to make more sentences out of each and every kind of pattern over here.
Explain pattern 8 again.
Alright, look, pattern 8. पहले तो आप देखें, can you name some infinitives? To learn, to catch, to sleep, to submit. I forgot to submit the assignment. To submit the assignment, this is a infinitive. To record the lecture, to take notes. All right? To take my dog for a walk. I forgot to take my dog for the walk. सही है? अब समझ आ गया आपको? सब्जेक्ट लगेगा, वर्ब लगेगा और इंफिनिटिव्स लगेंगे. All those infinitives. Infinitives क्या हैं? To catch, to sleep, to run, to walk. Alright? तो इस तरह आप अपना सेंटेंस पैटर्न 8 का जो है उसको कर सकते हैं. पैटर्न नंबर 9, वे विल वी नीड सब्जेक्ट प्लस द वर्ब प्लस एनी नाउन और प्रोनाउन एंड infinitive. Alright? For example, I like him to fly about the room. Alright? I subject है, verb, him क्या है? Pronoun. अब pronoun भी हो सकता है, कोई noun भी ऐड कर सकते हैं. उसके बाद हम to ऐड करेंगे according to this structure, this pattern, and then the infinitive. Fly about the room. Verb के बाद आप बहुत सारे वर्ड्स ऐड कर सकते हैं टू डिफाइन दैट वर्ड. तो आई लाइक हिम टू फ्लाई अबाउट द रूम, टू कैच द बर्ड, टू ईट द माउस. ऑल ऑफ दीज आर इंफिनिटिव्स. नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल इज ही हेल्प्ड मी टू कैरी द बॉक्स. टू कैरी द बॉक्स क्या है? इंफिनिटिव. शी एडवाइज्ड हिम टू स्टडी मेडिसिन. तो सिंपल. इसमें कोई कंफ्यूजन है आपको? सब्जेक्ट प्लस वर्ब प्लस नाउन और एनी प्रोनाउन एंड प्लस योर इंफिनिटिव बिफोर टू, आफ्टर टू, सॉरी. पैटर्न नंबर 10, again the same thing, but now we are talking about present participles. Participles are the way we use our verb. So we have present participle and past participle. यहां पे हम present participle को use करेंगे in pattern number 10. For example, the athlete swiftly glided across the ice. ये हमारा noun है यहां पे, plus mesmerizing the audience with graceful movements. अब present participle में verb के साथ हम ing का इस्तेमाल करते हैं and then the complement or the rest of the sentence. So the athlete verb, the athlete is our subject. अब verb है swiftly glided across. All right, verb, क्योंकि यहां पे हमारे पास यहां पे verb है glide. All right, ये हमारा क्या है? Adverb है. Then we have glided across. So अब आपके वर्ब में prepositions भी आ सकते हैं, adverbs, adjectives, whatever, but हम यहां पे according to the pattern हम इसको verb count करेंगे. Then your noun and then the present participle of the verb. To mesmerize is a verb, right? And it is in the past, in the present participle form. So the rest of the sentence is actually in the present participle form. We noticed the boy walking down the street. She caught subject, verb, then pronoun. Stealing the money, present participle. आपके verb के साथ जब ing आएगा, that is what we call in the present, because we are talking about the present. That's why we are calling it present participle. So next up, here. Now students, Any confusion in pattern 9, 10 or yes 8, 9 or 10? Clear है?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Pattern 11. Ab, now what we are supposed to do is add past participle. And we know that past participle में verb के बाद या ed आएगा या en. Alright? And by looking at that, you can say that this is a past participle form of the verb. So, I क्या है? Subject. Heard. Verb क्या है? Hear. But हमने इसको past form में लगाया HEARD, heard. We just added D. We don't need to add ED or D. Let's say ED, EN या simple E. My name is a noun. Called क्या है? Past participle. Yes. And past participle always works with the past form. और present participle किसके साथ work करता था? With the first form, with the base form. All right. Some examples. I want this letter typed. ठीक है, ये क्या है? Past participle. ये subject है आपका. Want is the verb. This letter, noun, and then the past participle. She felt herself lifted up. Again, subject, verb, herself is pronoun, and then lifted up is actually the past participle of lift up. All right. And the last pattern of today is pattern 12. यहाँ पे हम क्या करेंगे? Same subject always comes first. Verb, we will add that, which is a demonstrative pronoun. It is demonstrating to something, and then we will add clause. Now, clause is something that has a subject and a verb. And this is how it is different from a phrase. Phrase क्या है? Combination of words that make sense but not complete sense. But a clause is different. And clause किस तरह act करेगा? Object of the verb. Alright, here. For example, the queen said that, the queen, subject has said, verb, that is mandatory according to this pattern, that is must, it was nonsense. अब क्या होता है clause में? Subject and verb, right? It क्या है यहाँ पे? Subject. It was nonsense. To say nonsense is actually a verb over here. So it was nonsense. I expect that it will rain. ये subject है हमारा clause का, and this is the verb. So this makes a clause. So I expect that it will rain. He told, जैसे हम कहते हैं Muhammad, then we need a verb. Caught. Muhammad said that he liked fishing. Alright? Muhammad said that he liked fishing. So that is an example of pattern number 12. Alright. So let's just quickly go over that, the remaining, the previous kind patterns over here. सबसे पहले we have our subject plus verb preposition and prepositional object. All right. Then we added, for pattern number 8, we added infinitives. And in the next one, infinitives are also added, but with nouns and pronouns. And in the next pattern, we started adding participles. Present participle, past participle over here, and then at the end we added that plus any clause that you like. Now your task is to make sentences. In सारे 6 patterns के sentences आप बनाएंगे, just like you did in the previous units exercise where you made sentences of 6 sentence patterns. So they are easy to make. You just have to think a little bit and fulfill the requirement of the pattern. And that's how you will make your sentences. Now, students, whenever you're talking about sentence patterns, just memorize these 12 patterns clearly, identify them in any sentence, label them, and do your worksheets or all of these resources accordingly. Now, again, another thing that we will talk about, which is part of the learning outcome, is types of sentences. Now, students, जब हम sentence की बात करते हैं, here these are the sentences according to the type. And there are sentences like simple sentence, complex, compound, and complex compound. That is also, वो भी एक kind of sentences हैं, but we are talking about these 4 important types of sentences: declarative, interrogative, exclamatory, and imperative. Now, जी कौन बताएगा इनमें से कौन से sentence familiar है? What type of sentence is familiar to you? Yes. Exclamatory sentence, जिसमें हम exclamation mark को use करते हैं. Interrogative में हम question mark use करते हैं with interrogative words like what, where, how, when, and who. Declarative sentences से हम start करते हैं. Now, declarative sentence is coming from the word declare. जब हम कुछ declare करेंगे, when we assert something, we make a statement. That is our declarative sentence. The most basic type of sentence is a declarative sentence that makes a statement or express an opinion. So all the opinions that you have, I prefer coffee over tea. This is an opinion. This is your likeness. And it's a declarative sentence. All right. It ends with a period, full stop. No other exclamation mark. No question mark, but just simple full stop is added at the end. For example, the parrot dies and by chance a singing bird comes in its place. All right. This happened. ये एक event को हम narrate कर रहे हैं and this is a declarative sentence. Let's look at some more declarative sentence. Now, a declarative sentence, dear students, इसका structure क्या है? Subject plus the predicate. All right. My nephew walks the beach. Subject क्या है? My nephew. And this part is the predicate. It means we tell something about the subject. And that part, subject के बाद जो भी part है sentence का, that is your predicate. John eats the toast. Subject plus the predicate. All right. So these are your declarative sentences. You are giving opinions, you are stating facts, you are asserting something or declaring something. तो वो sentences सारे क्या हो जाएंगे? Basic, simple sentences. No other exclamation mark or question mark added. Just a simple declarative sentences. All right. Interrogative sentences. So it's very common, very basic. Ends with a question mark. Now, who's going to tell me which of the following is an example of an interrogative sentence? Yes. Students on the Zoom class. Yes. Are you coming to the party? Yes. How do we recognize this? Question mark at the end and all these interrogative words like are or did. इसके अलावा the 5 W's, right? कौन से 5 W's हैं? What, when, where, or what, where, when, yes, why, what, where, when, and why. और एक और है how. It's also a part of the 5 W's, but it starts with H. Now, exclamatory sentences express strong emotions and surprise. It ends with an exclamation mark. So when you are expressing strong feelings, emotions, when you are saying something in excitement, out of surprise, you use, what kind of sentences are you using? Exclamatory sentences, right? Like if you say, what a beautiful day. I am angry. You did a great job. I love the color of your room. Or you won the prize. That is a huge whale. Now, अब इसमें आप कहें कि what तो interrogative है. No. Here, what a beautiful day is not like a question. It is like a rhetorical question. What a beautiful day. Alright? So that's why all of these are exclamatory sentences. For example, give me an example. Yes. No. Interrogative sentences. Sorry, exclamatory sentences. Yes. शाबाश, जल्दी से एग्जाम्पल बताएं. Wow, that's great. I am surprised. What a beautiful shot. So if you're playing cricket, yes.
What a beautiful song.
Yes. Wow. Ouch. Oops. तो ये सारे जो expressions हैं, feelings हैं, your reaction, your strong emotion, feeling, and the way you express your strong emotion, all of these are your exclamatory sentences. Imperative sentences. Now students, imperative sentences gives a command, an order, or they are also including making request. It can end with a period, which means a full stop, or even an exclamation mark, depending on the level of emphasis. But it is very rare, so you would rather stick with ending it with a period. For example, take your freedom, she said. So take your freedom. क्या ये एक request है या एक command है? Yes, it's a command, because imperative sentences, when they are starting with words, polite words like please or may, तो वो जो हैं request के लिए use होंगे. Like if I say come in the class, join the lecture, these are imperative sentences, क्योंकि इसमें इस sentence में क्या है? Command. Or if I say may I come in, this is also an imperative sentence, but it is for requesting. Let's look at some examples. So imperative sentences, they are used for giving an order. For example, keep quiet. अब यहां पे देखें, we are ending with a exclamation mark. But it does not mean that this is just simply an exclamatory sentence. It is a imperative sentence. Tidy up your room. अपना कमरा साफ करो. अपना कमरा जो है उसमें से मैस उठाओ. Tidy up your room. This is also an order. Now, imperative sentences are also used for making requests. For example, give me some sweet, please. तो ये जो polite word है please or may or could you, if I say could you pass the salt, could you pass the chicken, so this is also an imperative sentence. Please come quickly. To give instructions, for example, turn the lever clockwise, disconnect the power supply. These are instructions. Open the bottle carefully. क्या है? Imperative sentence, and it's a open the bottle carefully. Instruction, not an advice, but it is an instruction. To give advice, like drive carefully, take a taxi, look both ways before you cross the road. ये क्या है? This is an advice. Look both ways, left and right, before you cross the road. So all of these different scenarios, making order, giving an order, making request, instructions and advice, जितने भी ये वाले sentences हैं जिसमें order है या request है या advice है या instructions हैं, all of them are categorized as imperative sentences. Now, this is a simulation link to be watched later on for more information. We have a worksheet where you just have to identify the pattern जो हमने पढ़े in today's lecture and identify them and label them कि ये subject है, this is the verb, this is preposition, and this is the prepositional object, and so on. Here is your homework. You have to make sentences according to these pattern 7 to 12 जो हमने आज discuss किए, and then for the second part of the SLO, write sentences of each type in your notebook. So make 5 sentences at least of imperative, declarative, or exclamatory and interrogative. All right, this is your homework. So these resources are added for you. This is all about today's lecture, students. So remaining sentence patterns को आप cover करेंगे clearly, and you will follow the homework and the worksheet. So if you have any kind of question, dear students, you can ask me. Clear? All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video lesson.